Wake up, college football. Wake up, Mark. I'll start with me. Wake up, Mark. And then wake up, college football nation. Thanks for being here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you all stopping by, starting your day with us, or for your early birds, truly early birds out there. You're 3 or 4 hours into it. You're like, Mark, it's middle of the day. Get going, buddy. All right. We appreciate you all being here at the Voice of College Football. As always, this is the conversation with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis, even in the morning. That's the tagline throughout the rest of the day, but that's because of you. So we do appreciate hearing from you. And if you've joined us for the first 6 days, this is day number 7, you know that we feed off of your comments, your questions, your stories, your anecdotes, and I will provide some as well. This isn't the typical Voice of College Football show. We are in the kitchen. We will make breakfast today. And that means we need to rush through those headlines because we know that back in the day, sometimes you had to rush through the headlines. At other times, you could say, hey, got up on time, good to go. And I can just kind of kick back, take my time, go through the box scores. It's a good start to the day. Other times, you're just kind of disheveled, trying to get things together, half asleep, got to rush out the door, get to work on time, which thankfully at this stage in my life, I don't have to get to work on time except for on time for all of you. So again, we are grateful to be here. And the reason we need to rush through the headlines and be a little bit more on time, a little bit more timely today is because you are looking at Mark, the Professor of Sorts. I am speaking to a group of college students in media today at 9:30 a.m. I was asked to do so a couple days ago. And the first question would be, out of your mouths, I would think would be, what university, what college? I have spoken to a few college classes in the past, 4 or 5. And so I appreciate the invite today. And I believe, I didn't even ask, but I believe based on the gentleman who asked me online, an acquaintance, not somebody I know personally, but somebody I was aware of online that reached out to me to speak to his media class. I believe this is going to be at the fine Rutgers University, I believe I will report back tomorrow. And what am I going to tell the fine youth of America today? What am I going to tell them? And before I continue, let me ask the chat, is the audio okay? Because we are using the magnet portion of the mic to flip to the inside and hold up the mic from the outside with the magnet. And therefore, it could be a bit muffled, maybe. The audio is more important than the look, that's for sure. So how do I sound? Rob says, great. D-Rock Irish gives me the thumbs up. Okay, all right. We will check for that because that's the way it's supposed to work. And don't be alarmed by the lump on my chest. Let's not be alarmed by that. So yes, so what to tell the youth of America? So that is a sorted question. I certainly could go on and on and on and on about what I would warn them about, what I would advise them. But we're going to stick to media. I will stay within the guardrails and I will stay in my lane today. But I'm sure that there will be some hidden messages between the lines regarding this fine country of ours and the state of our universities. I will probably sneak in a few ethical and character gems for them. But it should be a fun time. I look forward to it, being asked about my career and then taking questions from the, again, boy, it's hard to believe how long it's been since I stepped on a college campus. Many of you are saying the same thing to yourself. All right, so we're going to get to the headlines today. Of course, we're going to fix breakfast. And so that is part of the deal. If you're joining us again for a first time, this is our 7th edition, Wake Up College Football, every Monday through Thursday. I'm giving myself a 3-day weekend until further notice. That further notice is probably going to be college football season, where we got to deliver on Friday, got to be here, got to talk about all the big games on a Friday. But for the time being, Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. 5 a.m. on the West Coast. Anybody out there on the West Coast watching us right now? All right, tell your friends that we are here trying to keep you up and trying to bring you a bit of a different morning show. And so we don't know what that is every day. We only know headlines, breakfast. And I hesitate to eat in front of you, so we just simply talk about breakfast. Maybe I take a bite or two, bacon and eggs. Bacon and eggs last Thursday. That's right, bacon and eggs 2 shows ago. Yesterday, we merely showed you the cereal, and then I was disappointed to take in the sugar content of my organic cereal, which is 3 times, which appears to be less, but is 3 times the amount of sugar in life. If you caught the measurement analysis yesterday, again, my recommendation to the FDA is to make 1 serving size the standard, whatever that is, for each product. All right. That's my soapbox for the day. We will limit that for now to the FDA. I will let you know that we've got a jam-packed day in the voice of college football. So it is time, yes, Mark, to wake up. I set the alarm just a few minutes later. We've inched. We talked about this the first day of school kind of vibe on that first day, that it went from 7:03 to 7:07, 7:15 today. I don't know that I can push it any further than that. I think 7:15 is going to have to be a comfortable range. We were on time once again today. And the over-under, we will take those over-unders. Maybe we'll make some kind of official poll. Let's do that. Let's keep that official. I'm going to post that somewhere. The over-under on what day is Mark going to be oversleep and be late. I'm not counting 8:01, 8:02. That's typical online, gets the setup going type of delays. When will Mark officially, practically oversleep and miss the beginning of the show? We're on day 7. I'm 7-0. All right. Urban Meyer, I'm 7-0. Buckeyes fans can relate. Correlation, 7-0. Urban Meyer, 7-0. Mark, 7-0. If you know what that means, you know the rivalry. Okay, here we go with the headlines. And again, we got to be tight today on time. So we typically just, hang out. And that show for the first 6 days has proven to be, I think, 1 hour and 20 minutes has been our shortest show, 80 minutes. And we've gone over 2 hours once, I believe. Tell your friends we're here talking college football with all of you every day. Let's go to the headlines. And then we have our breakfast item for the day. And our first one sponsored by a viewer. Thank you, Megan. Hopefully Megan's watching today, because Megan was watching yesterday. And Megan sponsored our breakfast for today. All right, let's get to the headlines. First and foremost, although I do want to hear from all of you, so let's check out the chat real quick. Rob, rise and shine. Keith's here. Troy's here. Rob, yeah, coming back with Mark the new Regis. I like it. I got to say, back in the day, I was a Regis, not a fan. I'm a fan of few. I was an admirer. I guess that's the best I can do. I liked that Regis was different, that he did his own thing, that he had that personality. But yes, rest in peace, Regis. Regis was truly one of the best that ever did it in the morning. But some liked him, some did not like him. I'll take it. Again, Ralph. Good to see Ralph. Okay. D-Rock Irish. I'm glad I read that again. Okay. And we are good. Can't wait to see a different name in the chat. Love the regular crowd. Of course, you guys are the staple. You're the core. Can't wait to see it. Saw some new names on Monday. That was awesome. Tim is here. Dion is here. Of course, our Nebraska show went live on Tuesday night. Check it out. The Nebraska spring game is coming up this Saturday. Sandra may be joining us for a first time, or at least commenting for a first time. We enjoy Sandra's comments throughout the day on other shows. Sandra joins us here. We've got our Buckeyes live show coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Well, I've stepped on campus a few times, yes. My daughter's graduation, and then I was just interested to see the layout at Kent State University, my alma mater, about 5 to 10 years ago. I drove around campus a little bit, had not been on campus, almost completely different. That would be it. Would that be it? On campus. Other than working in the field, going to games. Yeah, going to games, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama in particular, Ohio State, and a few others. Yes, on campus to work a few times back when I was going to games. Moose is here as well. So great to see everyone. Can't get to everybody's comments, but again, morning headlines, old school morning headlines. We do it every day, and then we go into breakfast, and there's usually like a story or two or 13 out of me, something like that. I try to limit it to one story per. The first day I was lined up with stories. I was set to go. Now, you should be impressed because we do have a lineup today, because I got to remind myself of a few things, because I got to make this appointment at 9:30 and be done here at 9:20 to be the university guest speaker today. So we do at least have a lineup, because yesterday it was that was the lineup yesterday. But on day one, as you can imagine, I was all ready to go. All right. Now we're working on the sleep cycle on the front end. On the front end of the sleep cycle, or maybe the back end of the day. We still work on that. What's a good sleep cycle? Maybe go to bed probably at, they say 8 hours of sleep. Go to bed at 11, get up at 7. I can't imagine going to bed at 11 o'clock. 1 would be great. I should start trying for 1. It's typically turning out to be, last night it was about 3:15 or 3:30 that we finally got to bed. So about 3.5 hours of sleep. So that's probably not good on a regular basis. Yes, Regis was a Notre Dame fan and wore it proudly. All right, now we can get to the headlines. And for that, we go to ESPN. And I remind everyone every day that if you have a news source preference, let us know. College football only, of course. And it's got to be national. Okay, if this is going to be too transfer portal driven on our show, then we're going to steer clear of these headlines to a certain extent. To a certain extent, we will pick and choose. We do a transfer portal run through every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Join us for that. Even if you hate the portal, like I kind of do, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I've got a conceptual love for the portal, but I've got a impractical hate for the portal. We are not going to make this a portal update every day. No, we can't do that. Morning headlines, here we go. LSU running back John Emery. When this is the top news story of the day, I got to admit, hey, not a lot of big news in college football right now. We are waiting for our first big bang of a morning on day 7 of the Voice of College Football, our Wake Up College Football show. We haven't been hit yet with, whoa, USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten. or something of that ilk. We've not been hit with that yet. So when LSU running back John Emery entering the portal is our top story, I'm probably doing a poor job of selling our morning headlines, but here we go. John Emery is a decent running back. He was highly touted coming out of high school. As you can see, they're a top 15 player in the country, but that was eons ago in the world of college football. The 2019 class, he did score 4 touchdowns for the national championship team in 2019, but he's been a part-time player since then. He's got 1,000 yards total. He has started 5 games, appearing in 37. As you can see, he's logged 75, 76 carries in 21 and 22. He's a role player. We won't spend a ton of time on John Emery. Okay. Next up, what do you think? Transfer portal. It makes some of us think, can't wait for the football season. Michigan State defensive tackle Derek Harmon enters the transfer portal. Again, we're talking about a decent player. 40 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss, redshirt sophomore in 2022. Okay, we see he's got semi-impressive stats for a defensive lineman. The 7th defensive player to enter the portal for Jonathan Smith's Michigan State Spartans. And in cases like this, typically, the last paragraph might be the most meaningful when they're just trying to fill out the piece, but this is the summary of what's going on. New Michigan State coach Jonathan Smith already added quite a few transfers in December and January after he was hired. Aiden Childs came in, of course, from Oregon State. Tight end Jack Velling, Georgia Tech defensive lineman Daquan Dowse, Indiana edge Anthony Jones, Middle Tennessee edge Quindarius Dunnigan, and Wisconsin linebacker Jordan Turner, and others. Okay. We are back to the transfer portal, and if you want the full discussion on the Iowa quarterback situation, check out Hawkeyes Live. Go to Hawkeyes Live, Iowa channel. Corey Brad and myself diced it up yesterday. Not so much reviewing Deacon Hill's tenure at Iowa. We know it was bad. We know, though, it won a Western Division championship last year, despite Deacon Hill, and he moves on. So in terms of what matters to Iowa and the Big Ten, it's more about Iowa needs a quarterback, and they need a quarterback now. They need to get a transfer quarterback. And I hate to say I told you so, Hawkeye fans, and not just the Hawkeye fans. You've got nothing to do with it. I hate to say it, Kirk Ferentz, but I said back in December after the season, okay, you've had lousy quarterback play since Nate Stanley walked off campus in 2019. That was a long time ago in college football years. You've had lousy quarterback play. You will continue to have lousy quarterback play because your only decent quarterback has played 7 games in 2 years. Barely made it into conference play last year. You need a competitor for Cade McNamara, and you need security, a safety net, a backup, a capable backup for Cade McNamara. I was clamoring for this in December after the season was over. They did not go get a transfer quarterback when there were transfer quarterbacks available. Now it's slim pickings. And I was going to need a transfer quarterback. And there's not much out there. Jaden Rashada is the guy right now, and he ain't going to Iowa. So This was not necessarily foreseen, but here it is, Deacon Hill moving on. Or there is the possibility he has a change of heart, they have some discussions, he stays. And then, okay, more from the transfer portal. We will not continue. And we talked about the Florida State ACC case on Monday. We've got a segment posted with Tony Siracusa from Last Word on College Football dealing with Florida State and the ACC. So we are all over that. We went through this article yesterday. And again, check out the conversation we had and the video posted from Monday, I guess, or late last week, or whenever it was. Yeah, it must have been Monday. From Monday, Tony Siracusa, look it up. It's right here on the national channel. And also, Florida State Live is tonight at 6 Eastern. It is a big day here at the Voice of College Football. We've got Buckeyes Live at 11. We have our transfer portal update at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got Steve Dace Live at 4. We have Florida State Live at 6, Miami Live at 7. And all sorts of stuff to do in between. Ferris chiming in. Ferris, member for 2 months, respected member of the Voice of College Football community. That gives him allowance to make statements like this. 2019, isn't that the last year Ohio State beat Michigan? Is that a rhetorical question? Yes. If you truly want me. There's not a question mark at the end of the statement, so maybe I should not have answered that. Ferris does say here. He has a follow-up statement, I thought. I don't see it now. But there it is. Yes, no wins this decade. I thought there was a previous comment about winning the decade. The decade has not been won yet. It's 3-0. While we're spitting facts, we can say last decade was what? What was last decade? 8-1? The other way. Yes. The all-time series is 61-51 Michigan. I don't know if Michigan fans want to count past 1920, 1950, 1970, year 2000. But all-time, it's Michigan. The last 3 years, it's Michigan. Any other counting reference goes Ohio State's direction. Joey's here. Good to see Joey. Please sub the West Virginia channel. All right, we've got a whole thing going over on the West Virginia channel. A whole new thing with the Mountaineers. So check out what Joey's got going and his crew on the West Virginia channel. The Mountaineers have their spring game coming up this Saturday. I've got a conversation coming up with Justin Walker, Coos' Corner, to break down some West Virginia football and get us caught up on the Mountaineers. All right, all right. So, Moose says he's not lying though, Mark. Of course he's not. Nothing I said was a lie. Nothing Ferris said was a lie. Again, it was all neatly summarized by myself on a tweet that I posted 6 months ago. If you are involved in this rivalry, you love this rivalry, if you are on one side or the other, if you are 100 years old or older and you're a Michigan fan, you are on the plus side of the rivalry. If you are 100 years old or older, if you are 4 or 5 years old or younger, you're a Michigan fan, thumbs up. I don't know. May we get a count of those watching who are less than 5 years old? Anybody 5 years or younger watching? If you are, then you probably, I feel badly for you because you were probably subjected to bad parenting. However, yes, those are the two Michigan categories to boast. If you're over 100 years old or you're less than 5, and then Ohio State fans only have one category to brag, and that's if you're between the ages of 5 and 100. So Buckeye fans, you have slim bragging rights only if you're between the ages of 5 and 100. Michigan's got the under 5 and the plus 100. Okay. Like to get the Michigan fans riled up first thing in the morning. Moose has been a Michigan fan since 1986 when he was 7. Let's do the addition on that. I got to say I was slightly older than that in 1986. I've got a few years on Moose. I love Ralph's math here. This is very convoluted. Take away the 2000s. So we're ripping away 15 games, and then those are selected games too, because Ohio State did lose in 03 and 11. So Ralph's like cherry picking years all over the place in the 2000s. And then he is in the 1960s when the Buckeyes were dominant. And now the rest of the series goes Michigan way. Probably the easier way to do that is just look at Michigan winning the first 14 games, I believe it is, and Ohio State's got the rest of the series. All right. Ralph's got a 23-22 count. Again, we're being very specific. If we did it this way, we said, who won the last game? Michigan. Who won the last 2 games? Michigan. Who won the last 3 games? Okay, Michigan's got the series the last 5 games. Anything past that, Ohio State, boom, 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 the last 6, 7, 8, 9, on and on and on and on throughout the series. Okay, and then boom, you got one little crack. You got one little opportunity for Michigan to slide in with a victory. I'm sorry, Michigan fans, when you take the totality. So when I've made this argument, and we're going to make it brief today, I don't want to drag everyone down into Ohio State, Michigan, but that seems to be what most people are wanting at times here. 100 years is true. So anyway, okay, then it's if you're a Michigan fan and you're less than 5, over 100, or you are 48. So I guess those are the parameters. But I'm looking at the totality of the matchup, not just the one game that's played. And again, we've got Michigan fans here. Ralph, Moose, I don't know if we've got anyone else. They're not going to like that everything else is in Ohio State's favor. Big Ten championships, national championships, major bowl wins, winning percentage, all those things, again, in a reasonable amount of time, 50 years, 70 years, wherever you want to go, NFL draft selections, first round selections. There you go. All right. Yes, Ohio State, I'm not going to call it dominance, but they win basically every category inside 100 years. All right. I like to hear these little stories here. I like to hear these little nuggets once we get going on something like this. Joey's been a West Virginia fan since He was 7. In 1932. I'm going to leave that right there. Fans get too involved in numbers. Pitt leads the series against West Virginia by a big margin, but the last 35 years belong to West Virginia. Okay, well, they're both numbers. You're getting involved in the numbers. You're doing the same thing, Joey. The last 35 years belong to West Virginia. That's a number. The last 35 years belong to Ohio State. That's a number. All right. Oh, Rob says let's chill in the morning, and we will get on to breakfast here soon. But the morning headlines were a huge disappointment. Nothing but the transfer portal. So we had to get riled up about something to get the blood flowing early. Unless we get going. We'll do a rivalry live stream. We'll do a rivalry live stream. Let's do that. And we will dissect all these numbers. And we'll take all the various categories. We'll take the head-to-head. We'll take the... Yeah, how should we do that? We'll do it. I'm not going to play producer right now and think about that, because we want to, if we make it open to all rivalries, that'll be a fun show. Or if we go to, yeah, see, Moose, again, I don't care what happened in 1903. I don't care what happened in 1903. So again, I'm more like the Pole era, 1936, post-World War II, last 70 years, last 50 years. Oh, I know it still counts. We had this debate the other day. Yes, it all counts. I'm just saying I really don't care much about it. Like, I can't watch, I guess I could. Is there a film of the 1902 Rose Bowl and the 1902 Ohio State-Michigan game? Like, I don't care. So for me, and again, we are fans, and I become, I hate to admit it, less and less of a fan every day, every year in college football. So I would have been much more adamant about all of this 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Certainly when I was 20, 25 years old, would have been much more adamant about all of this and campaigning on the Ohio State side. I'm just merely going with facts. Yes, Michigan leads the series, owns the series in its totality. I don't care about games in 1900 or in 1920. I progressively care about them more and more and more as they become more recent. And then probably post 1950, 1970, in that era, then they pretty much count the same for me. But that's one perspective. You have your perspective, and that's they all count. My perspective is they all count. I just don't care about Michigan beating up Ohio State in 1912. It just doesn't resonate with me. I don't care. So if Michigan continues to do what they're doing right now, they will take over. They will eventually take over Ohio State's leads in all these categories I've just mentioned in the last 20 years, 50 years, 70 years. They'll be able to do that if they continue to win the series. So there you go. Oh boy, here we go. We're hitting a sore spot. So Rob says, be careful, Mark. Now young people don't care about Elvis, sadly. Most of them, you're right. I would guess they don't care. They don't know much about him. They know certain odds and ends and so forth. But let's understand, there are thousands and thousands, if not more than that, thousands, because I've come across them. I watch them all the time. I was watching the dude last night. He's like 20 years old. Black dude, about 20. Real hip hop kind of guy. Does Elvis reaction videos. So there are tons and tons of those people. Ralph wants to talk food. All right. Yeah, so that is generally sad. However, yes, so Clemson, South Carolina. So when we do our rivalry series, we're going to have to do that justice. I don't know how we're going to do that, because if we do each individual rivalry, then we are going to be here forever. But maybe I'll just go, we'll start Ohio State, Michigan, then we'll take requests and we'll continue it from there. And I want just the fans to chime in and say what they want. And obviously, all the Clemson fans are going to say, look at all these numbers that say we're the best, we own the rivalry, and all the South Carolina. And that's what's going to happen with every rivalry that is somewhat competitive. It just underlines what I say all the time. You all are extremely biased. And that's okay. You're fans. You're allowed to be. You're extremely biased. When I have a show and we're arguing 1997, Michigan, Nebraska split national championship, and there is not one Michigan fan who can claim in any way that Nebraska has any right to a national championship, and there is no Nebraska fan that can comment to the show that relents in any way that Michigan has a right to a national championship or could have possibly won the matchup, then that just proves it beyond belief. This is completely biased to an extreme. And again, that's okay. This isn't like if you were analyzing data for NASA, or you were in charge of something important and allowing that bias to creep into your analytics or your research that impacted all of us, then I would have an issue with that. But you don't. You're college football fans. So be college football fans. I am a college football fan who steps up here and for like 6 or 7 years was able to have everyone completely guess who I rooted for. So that has proven that I can play the unbiased role. Am I unbiased? Of course not. All right, let's get to breakfast, because again, I am speaking to a college class in 50 minutes or less. So we're going to get to breakfast, and Megan paid for our breakfast today. I would love to see if Megan was here, because she should see the fruits of her labor as Megan purchased me breakfast. So if you would like to determine what I eat for breakfast. So what's for breakfast today? It's a vegan smoothie. There would be no other, right? I can't imagine there being another kind of smoothie. So Megan wanted a vegan breakfast. That's the best I can do. That's the only vegan breakfast I know of. Truly vegan. So we will make the smoothie, and I'll show you what I got there. If you would like to buy me breakfast, if you would like to select our breakfast items of the day, it can be anything. It can be anything, as long as it's a certified breakfast item of sorts. If you want me to try something, make something, whatever it is, the Super Chat's available, as you see down on the ticker below. Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, actually the most effective way to contribute to the voice of college football. And before we get started on our smoothie, keep in mind, Buckeyes live at 11. Transfer portal updated 3. Steve Dace live at 4. Right here, all of this thus far. The Florida State show at 6. That's on the Florida State channel. Miami at 7. And we've got our West Virginia show with Frank Fear and company at 8. I believe we have not missed anything. We've got a total of 7 live shows on the Voice of College Football today. All right. Smoothies. So if I merely went with what I liked in a smoothie, then it would be all fruit. It would all taste good. It would be all fruit. However, okay, this could be a little dicey here. So what I do is I start with a few things that I don't care for, but I cram a little bit of veggies in here. And I usually take, like, if let's say I've had a salad for a week or whatever, and it's getting a little older, I switched that out, get myself some new salad, take the old salad, use that for the smoothie. I haven't had many smoothies like in the last couple of years. I went on a smoothie run for a few years constantly, but not too much in the smoothie direction. And I don't know if you can see me over here. So we've got our blender right there. There we go. And we're going to start with, some spring mix organic lettuce. We'll just throw a little bit in there. I usually make way too much, and then I got to throw it in the refrigerator, but we'll throw a little bit of that in there. So again, there should be another sponsorship for me right there. Then we've got some asparagus that's a little long in the tooth here. Square one asparagus. So yeah, the asparagus. I purchase asparagus frequently, and I really don't like it, but I got used to it when I had HelloFresh. And so I started to eat the asparagus, and maybe we should wash off the asparagus. And no, I'm not throwing all of this in there, but we'll throw a few little stalks in there and cut off the ends and all that business. So let's do that. And yes, we have not graduated to the multi-camera shoot, so you'll have to trust me. Rinsing and cutting asparagus, bam, that goes in there. So we are done with the healthy stuff, the truly healthy stuff that can also be termed the nasty stuff, depending on your perspective. Next up, we go with the fruit. Let's go with some frozen fruit. I did have some fresh fruit. And what we've got here, some mixed berries, berry medley. We've got blueberries. We've got strawberries. So let's start with this, since this is obviously a mixture of the others. And this is what I typically do, is throw these in there. I'm going to have to mash that down. Don't know if you can see too well. Yeah, that's probably good. Let's get a little bit more in there. So there we go. Put that in there. And now, this is not going to blend up. It's my experience that you've got a blender that is not going to blend that. Maybe I just don't have good blenders and never purchased them. But we need something to loosen all that up. So you need a milk product, a liquid product. I don't like milk with all that myself. So this is what I do. I usually take a berry type of vitamin water, of the berry variety, and we throw that in there. And then also, I'm probably going to need more than that. And I only have these two. Also, depending on the other ingredients of the smoothie, see, we've got some protein here, which I need to eat this on a more regular basis. But it's chocolate. I'm not throwing this in here. It's going to ruin the flavor. Chocolate does not go with the rest of that stuff. So that's going to have to be what it is. No additional. So before we go ahead and mix that up, I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of recommendations on what should be in this smoothie. Moose takes Centrum and niacin pills every day, and hopefully I don't contribute to any of that medication that's needed by Moose. Hot-looking Michigan fan. Is there a hot-looking Michigan fan out there? Let's start with that. I'm sure there is. I just have never seen one that I know of. Somebody shops at Walmart. Well, it's the cheapest. It's the cheapest. In this day and age, yes. In this day and age, and based on my salary reduction since leaving the worldwide leader, yeah, Rob is on this hot co-host deal. Maybe I'll repost videos. Let's see, hot co-host. So I've certainly had some nice looking females that have joined me a long time ago on various segments. You guys probably missed all of those. I can think of 3 or 4, 5, 6. I can think of about 4, 5, 6 throughout the years that just joined for a segment here, segment there. Then we did do a show, however, with a nice looking young lady. And we no longer do the show. Mark would not have made it in the caveman era. Yeah, that's the truth. Live cam on the refrigerator. We would not want the live cam late at night during ice cream time. That would not be a pretty sight. Oh, we got Mike chiming in. Michigan is the better program. Ohio State pays for talent. Michigan develops talent. You guys need to learn from the leaders and best. Yeah. Thanks for the super chat, Mike. Thanks for the instruction. We appreciate that. Joey says, I can't wait to send Mark money. So here we're back on Century eggs from China. Wherever I would get those, you're going to have to send them to me, I guess, Joey, or direct me in the wherever. And a slice of pickled jerkin wrapped in a fillet of pickled herring for breakfast. Okay, I'll try it. Ferris, you are probably oh so right. We're probably made to be vegans. Hard to do. Maybe 50 to 70% vegan is good. French toast. Let's not mention that. Blank name. Says vegan, gross. Vegan is what we were instructed to do today. And unfortunately, Megan's not here. Next time Megan is in the chat, and of course, Megan is down under. They're in Australia. But Megan supplied us with this. Megan paid for it, and that's the deal. You buy me breakfast, I buy the items, we make the breakfast. There we go. But I would think, yes, that there would be other, items that you guys would put in smoothies. If I can get myself into making smoothies every day, and my life has been extremely chaotic the last couple of years. So finally, I'm established in a home, which is good. So I've been on the run, living out of a suitcase and all of that, helping people over the last couple of years. So I was into fruit smoothies every day. I've not had a dishwasher for almost 2 years, and I can't believe that people live without dishwashers. And if you live without a dishwasher because you can't afford one, I am truly sorry. If you choose just not to have a dishwasher, like my mom, God rest her soul, for the last several years of her life, her dishwasher went out. She didn't want me to fix the dishwasher. She would have rather had a few other things taken care of in the kitchen. So I got her a new microwave. We did something with the stove. There was something else. There was something wrong with the thermostat and the central air. So we took care of those things. But she said, I wash a couple dishes. It's not a big deal. But for me, dishwasher, a must. Spending like 40 minutes every night washing dishes, just a waste of time. All right. If this becomes too much of an annoyance and takes too long, then and Mike says steak and eggs. Mike says steak and eggs, and we did steak and eggs on Thursday of last week. I forgot to mention here, Moose has been oh so kind to gift 5 Voice of College Football memberships. And that's a membership that we are really going to have to grind down this summer and do something with. But for the time being, you get, oh, that's right, I put this on my to-do list yesterday about emojis. I should put somebody else in charge of that. Make up emojis. We've got emojis on the other, like on the USC channel. That's the only other channel that has memberships, and I better watch my time because, again, we speak to a college class at 9:30 a.m. If you missed the open, we are going to have an abbreviated show today. Not that there is a time limit for the show. We might have like 12-minute shows in the future. I don't know what it's going to be. But yes, we speak to the fine students at Rutgers at 9:30. I believe it's at Rutgers. So we've got our media class guest appearance, guest speaker appearance. Moose, thank you so much for that. So the 5 college football, Voice of College Football memberships and you get a exclusive content request every month along with the rest of the community. So we keep that to 1 a month. And you get your emojis and you get your privileges here. You can appear on the College Football After Dark show. You get your entry onto the College Football After Dark show every Sunday night. And in terms of my predictions, I know we sell the predictions as being a major part of this because, gotta say, would have made you a lot of money last year to take my predictions, both against the spread and straight up. $100 per prediction. If you take all my predictions from last year, $100 per. I'm not encouraging this, but if you did, and this is about every season, $100 per prediction, you would have made like $4,200. But so anyway, we thank Moose for gifting 5 college football. Why do I keep saying college football memberships? Voice of College Football memberships. All right. So if this takes too long to grind up, I'm not going to annoy you with the noise. And I don't even know how much of it's going to pick up here. We'll see. That is really weird. It's leaking out the bottom. That's never happened before. We get a first on live television here. That's not good. So there you go. We're not going to go on and on with the fruit smoothie. It obviously needs more juice. More juice in the motor, but more juice in the juice to take care of it. But I'm going to have a fruit smoothie, and there you go. That is really strange. I have never seen it do that before. So, pardon me, but a little cleanup because we don't want the new countertop to get stained here. Sure, this is riveting television right here. Riveting. I go through my day every day, and it hits me all the time. That's a good story for the morning show. That's a good story. I got to mention this. I got to mention that. And like I said, on day number 1, I had a lineup of stories. I told my post office box story yesterday, the Postal Service letting me down, but we finally got that squared away. I told my HOA story of their miscue. And there are quite a few others. I am picking up the sport of pickleball right now. We are picking up the sport of pickleball right now. And I got to say, I like it. Who plays pickleball? Anybody out there play pickleball? We are going to continue to remind everyone that Moose has been oh so generous to gift 5 Voice of College Football memberships. Ralph says, Mark just didn't want to eat the vegan breakfast. Yeah, we just did it. Hey, I'm going to be taking in this vegan breakfast today. Thanks, Megan. Yeah, throw it in the trash. No. Who could this be? That's a good looking name. Cynthia plays pickleball. I didn't know that Cynthia played pickleball. I just played my first pickleball just a few weeks ago. Now I've played about 5 times and I enjoy the sport. It took a little getting used to. It still is. I'm still learning. I'm still not good. It took a little getting used to at the beginning because the ball doesn't bounce. So if you're used to tennis, you're constantly backpedaling because if somebody can hit the ball with any kind of pace, it's going to topspin on you most of the time. And you got to read the ball a lot better in tennis. And obviously you've got more court to cover. So basically the ball cannot ride on you at all. Now I play with a buddy who's got a wicked forehand where he really rips it probably most of the time about that far over the net, but he cuts it right into my feet. But that doesn't really bother me because I'm quick enough, and that's a natural swing for me, is just to backpedal really quickly and and I can usually dig those out pretty well. It's all the, I don't want to call them garbage shots, but all this cutting it right over the net, these and I got to get used to, hey, the paddle's only this long. It's not a tennis racket. And the ball just dies. And the other thing is, I didn't like playing doubles in tennis. I don't like playing doubles in pickleball. I don't like it. I want to run the court. I want to cover the court. I don't want to think about coordinating with somebody else. So that I've got to get used to, because that's the only way it's played. Does anybody that play pickleball know of singles matches? Because where I go and everybody I've talked to only plays doubles, and that's it. That's all there is, doubles. Did Mark slam that smoothie already? No, no. The smoothie is on hold because we're not going to waste time like me grinding up a smoothie. So the smoothie's there, and my blender's leaking. I don't know. I used my blender like 3 times since I've been here, and it's not leaked, but it is today. So we're not going to try to play around with that. Vera says pickleball is social. That is why it is doubles. Yeah, I'm not into the social aspect. I typically, although I get older, I'm into more of the social aspect than I used to be. Joey, see ya. Have a great day. What do we got? What do we got about tennis and pickleball? So Ferris, you play tennis. Pickleballers, to me, they got mad at me because I slam it and also because I cannot keep score. Well, based on my experience, people are slamming the ball if they can slam it. It's funny because the easiest slams in the world, I screw up all the time. Hit the ball hard at me, spin it. I can most of the time adjust, but pop one up like right in front of me, I'm too impatient. I got to just relax. Sonny says, let's do some pickleball sometime. So this is going to be a singles match, I guess, between Sonny and myself. We'll play some pickleball. Again, I'm not very good. I just started. I played about 4 or 5 times. And I don't consider myself somebody who catches on to things quickly, regardless of what it is. What comes to mind, and I better check my time here. All right, it's 9:05. We're in good shape. Again, I am a guest speaker at Rutgers today. I believe it's Rutgers. It's a college class. So somebody reached out to me a couple days ago, and so they want a media guest speaker at, we're getting off here at 9:20, so I can make it by 9:30. So that should be fun. We've done that about 4 or 5 times in the last several years where people have asked me to speak to their college class. So I hope that's a beneficial time for them. But again, pickleball, I would love, this is what shies me away from investing into the club membership for the month. I got to get a racket. I keep borrowing rackets, but I got to get a racket regardless. But yeah, because I don't like playing doubles. I'm trying to get used to it. The last time we went out, the 2 times ago, I probably complained about it too much. I probably mentioned it too many times. I don't like playing doubles. Can we play singles, or does anybody play singles? So last time we went out, last Thursday, I tried to keep my mouth shut and just focus on, okay, this is the way the game's played. This place probably has 60 or 70 courts. They're all over the place. And everybody's playing doubles. So I've asked, and everybody says everybody plays doubles. That's the way it's played. Okay. I guess since I'm getting old, I should embrace that. Mike is letting us know, and thank you so much for the super chat, Mike. One more loss. I should really not clean up these super chat contribution comments here. Just read them verbatim. One more lose to Michigan, and Ohio might become a pickleball school. Yes, I think they are in great danger of doing that. I also think one more loss to Purdue will probably do it. Ohio State lost to Purdue in 2018. If they lose another game to Purdue, they've only beaten, I think, once. They've got a 1-game, no, they've got a 2-game winning streak against Purdue, and that's all. And that's pretty embarrassing. You should beat Purdue like all the time. Actually, it's funny because since in this century, this is funny. Purdue has a much better record against Michigan or against Ohio State. Purdue has a much better record against Ohio State than Michigan does. Purdue has won, let's see, since the year 2000, Michigan's beaten Ohio State, what, 5 times? 03, 11, 21, 22, 23. 5 times Michigan has won since 2001. Since 2001, that's 5 times in 23 years. So it's what? They didn't play once, 17-5. Is that the record? 17-5, I think. And Purdue beat Ohio State in 2001, 04, 09, 2011, and 18. So Purdue has as many wins against Ohio State as Michigan does, and they've only played, I think Ohio State barely has a series lead, 6-5, 7-5. Ohio State beat them in 02, 03, like 06, 7, 12 and 13, And then in 21, 23, it's like 8-5. It's like 8-5. So if anyone has bragging rights over Ohio State, it's Purdue, because they are only losing the series 8-5 in this century. So give it up for Purdue. They deserve a super chat. Somebody send in a super chat on behalf of Purdue. Whatever the years were in there in terms of Rob's throwing in 2014 or 2013. I remember, during those Urban Meyer years, Ohio State just, they had a double overtime win in 2012, and then they completely annihilated them 2 or 3 times, like 2013, 14, and then they had the loss in 2018, and they've killed them twice since. They beat them last year. What'd they beat them? Whatever it was, 40-something to 7. And then they beat them 56-7. Was it 56? No. They scored a lot more points than that. It's like 59-28 in 2001, the Aiden O'Connell team. All right. Good stuff with all of you. Good stuff with all of you. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. People ask me almost every day, how long is this show supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be in the future. Anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 hours. That's how long this show is going to be every day. But we will be here every day at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Wake Up College Football. We do appreciate you being here. And we hope to see what the momentum is going into the college football season. Right now, we've got a sparse little gathering, so we'll see how this takes off into the college football season. We're not going to pull the plug on this. I may pull the plug on my what is that? A blender at some point. But we will not pull the plug on this show for quite some time because we want to see how it resonates. There's a term for you. I got to mentally wake up. I'm still not there, and I got to speak to some young folks here and impart my media wisdom on them in about 15 minutes. So we do appreciate you being here, the Voice of College Football. Keep in mind, the Buckeyes live shows at 11. Transfer portal update at 3. Steve Dace live at 4. Florida State at 6. Miami at 7. We're here all day at the Voice of College Football. We will see you at 11 a.m. over on the Buckeyes channel.